Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where it is drop day for the latest SENCUT knife, and this is a very, very different SENCUT knife. To the best of my recollection, again, always tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, you guys are great at doing that, but I believe this is a first for SENCUT. Almost positive this is a first, because this is not a folder, and it's not exactly your regular fixed blade. This is a neck knife, and while I've said it before, and I will still stand by my statement that I am not a neck knife guy, this is about as good of a job with a neck knife that you could possibly do in this price range. And I do have some really positive things to say about it, and I kind of have a spin to put on this. But anyway, this here is the SENCUT Texo. Now, before I go any further into this review, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length coming in at 4.91 inches, a blade length of 1.97 inches, and a blade thickness at 120 thousandths. We have a blade material of 9CR18 MOV, which is pretty typical. That is what you see on pretty much all SENCUTs for the most part, granted some D2 here and there. We have a reverse Tonto style blade, a nice thin slicey flat grind, a handle length coming in at 2.94 inches, and the handle thickness at, of course, 120 thousandths as well, so infinitely thinner than most handles, but again, this is not your typical pocket knife. We have a weight of 1.2 ounces, and that is with, that is with the sheath. That's everything. That's everything you see here. The chain, the sheath, the knife, and the lanyard. I just threw it all on the scale because I didn't want to confuse anyone. Obviously, you take away this, and you're looking at probably around 1 ounce, maybe just under an ounce for just the knife and the lanyard. Designed by Ostap Hell, and I love that. I love that about SENCUT, that they bring big names in to design some of their knives, because even though these are very budgety knives, it's nice to have a reputable name behind the design. So that's really cool. As for the price, we are looking at $29.75 on this. Now, there's a couple factors that I think kind of drove it up to $29.75. I say up because, there's obviously not a lot that goes into this. There's obviously machining and milling and whatnot. But there's not much assembly. There's very little assembly. But at the same time, this is an Ostap Hell design. Ostap needs his cut, his share of his piece of the pie. So, $29.75 for this. Yeah, it's not the biggest bargain in the world, but I think it's fair given everything. I think it's really fair actually, because you have a nice lanyard. This obviously carries no weight, but it is a nice lanyard, and it's a really nice design. And for what it is, it's done extremely well. The only thing that kind of hurts this for me in terms of price is you have knives like the Civivi Mini Praxis that's also $29.75. So if you're comparing this to the Civivi Mini Praxis, now granted, those are two very different knives, different types of carries. I don't know. There's just something about this for $29.75 and the Mini Praxis for $29.75 to where I would take the Mini Praxis all day, every day over this. But again, two very different knives. It's just very similar price points. I thought that was interesting. Let's do some size comparisons. Let's compare this little guy. Obviously, we're going to kind of forget the lanyards on there for a second. All right, you know what? Let's just take the lanyard off because you guys know I don't like lanyards anyway. Now, this particular one, though, I think could actually be a rather enjoyable lanyard, but I have a little criticism for this lanyard as well, too, that we'll talk about here in a second. But the knife. Here's the knife. Let's do size comparisons. Set it on the table and pull out some other knives. Let's bring out this guy right here. The Vosteed Mini Corgi, which is, wow, a lot longer than I thought it would be. It's the first time I saw it next to it, I thought it would be a little closer. Another SENCUT. If you're big into the SENCUT brand, you've probably heard of this one. I can't remember the name of it. It's a Brad Zinker design. I'll have it linked below. This is a fantastic little, very casual, clean, everyday carry flipper, so definitely worth checking out there. But yeah, as you can see, it's obviously a lot bigger than even this SENCUT model. So it's by far one of, if not the smallest SENCUT knives that has ever been brought to market. So that's kind of cool. And there is a striking, enjoyable piece of minimalism with this knife. It's as minimal as you can get. Which is really nice. Again, I have some criticism for it that we'll get into. But first, let's talk about the blade, because I have no criticism for the blade itself. There is something on the blade that, you know what, I'll just say right now. This ungodly billboarding on the blade here. I get it. The SENCUT made it. That is very, very clear. They really need, for a knife this small, they should have definitely dialed down the size of this etching. This is another one. It'd be a prime example if they just got rid of SENCUT and just put the logo up there, or printed just SENCUT at like the same size font as OSTAP's name on the other side. Something like that would have been a lot better. What you have here is really ugly blade branding on the show side of the knife, which is a shame because there is a lot of things to like about this knife. Now, granted, I may be nitpicking it there, but that's just, it's unacceptable for me at any price range for branding to be that big on a blade this small. But now, everything else about the blade is magnificent. You have a great edge, 14 thousandths behind the edge. While it's not a very tall blade, 14 thousandths is 14 thousandths. That's thin, that's slicey. This is a rather slicey blade. You have some really nice jimping up here towards the tip. And there's just a lot of little grip positions you can get this guy in to where very, very comfortable. Great for opening packages, boxes, any type of little cuts. This excels very, very well at. Nice tip. Love the reverse Tonto. Got that little swedge up there flirting with the tip. It looks good. So aesthetically, minus the hideous blade branding, it's a home run of a blade design. I think it's a great looking blade. And there was a lot of things done right, minus the blade branding. The handle here, it's very minimal, but they did an excellent job of milling this to where it looks really good. I think what a lot of people would probably do, you could acid wash this whole thing and maybe minimize that blade branding, because they really did make an excellent little fixed blade knife here. And I mean, excellent. My biggest argument towards this knife is I wish they wouldn't have made it a neck knife. They have a very nice sheath here. I wish instead of sending this thing with it, they would have sent a little clip to stick in your pocket, because this would make a phenomenal pocket fixed blade. So there may be something you guys could get. Maybe you could even rig something up, or you could also just stick it in here, because this sheath holds it extremely well. It's very secure in here. You could just take this off and drop this in your pocket and you would be fine. It'd be perfect in a backpack. It would be perfect in so many other applications than a neck knife. I mean, I get it. I get it. There are some people out there who like neck knives, and, no offense to anyone out there who likes them, but I'm just not a neck knife guy. But I do appreciate a good small fixed blade, and this is an excellent small fixed blade. It really, really is. It is striking the way they did the milling and the looks of everything. I think it's great. And this is also a little fixed blade that I wouldn't mind seeing the lanyard on. I think the lanyard's nice. My only issue with the lanyard here, let me put this back on and explain that, is I wish there was less of a gap between the handle and the actual meat, the braid of the lanyard. I wish this braid was like right up there. That would make this a lot better. Now, I know it'd be a little harder to get the whole lanyard on, but a smaller gap from the handle to the braided portion of the lanyard would have been much appreciated and much more enjoyable, in my opinion, just because if I go to pull it out or pull it from the sheath at all, it's so far away. If I'm grabbing it like this, when I pull it, I pull it out like this, as to where if it was up here, I could pull it out like this and be much closer, much easier transition into just using the blade. That's the really only improvement I could have for the lanyard. And of course, if you guys know how to braid paracord, you can make your own lanyard. So the lanyard is definitely kind of a little side complaint, not really that big of a deal. And these are the type of lanyards, too, that SENCUT, Civivi, probably even we, they make these things in mass production, so it's not like it's a specialty piece for this. They just threw it. It was a nice little addition, but I definitely would like to see that minimalized, the gap shortened there. But As for the knife itself, I really do thoroughly love the knife. I'm really bummed about the terrible blade branding on there, but the knife itself is fantastic. I think it is excellent for any type of minimalist-oriented EDC fanatic. If you like simple, small, fixed-blade knives for $29.75, this is something you definitely want to check out. I think it's an excellent little design. Another great one from OSTAP. A fantastic collaboration with SENCUT of all companies. I really like it. I do dig it. It's not perfect. It could be better, but it's still really good for what it is. When you look past my few minor complaints about it, the SENCUT Texo guys, let me know what you think of this, and let me know if you want to see smaller fixed blades like this from the real budget-based companies like SENCUT or even Civivi. They could turn out a really nice little fixed blade like this. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting, and it is available now, and you know those links are below. So if it's something that interests you, check it out. Let me know what you think. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.